Espinosa.
It has been a remarkable year for the freshman Kendall Wells and her class. They have accounted for 63 of the team's 167 home runs. Meanwhile, on the other side, for Georgia, they have not lost 3 straight overall since 2025. Of course, they haven't been swept in an SEC series since that 2021 season, but maybe even bigger today is the opportunity to knock off the #1 team with Selection Sunday looming and a current RPI ranking of 15th in the country.
Big opportunity for Georgia this weekend in this game and next weekend against Florida.
Making a change at the top, Jaden Goodwin will slide from the 2 to the leadoff. Had a 12-game hit streak snapped in Game 2 yesterday. And the Georgia Bulldogs offense will take on Kirsten Deal in the circle for Oklahoma. Amanda making her first SEC start of the season.
Yeah, Kirsten Deal has been here since her freshman year. She's seen a lot of time in that circle and in this OU program, pitched in the postseason. She's been here a while.
Lefty gets a first pitch swing off the bat of Goodwin, and there is the Gold Glover, Ailana Agbayani, for the first out.
Well, and it is senior weekend. This is the last regular season weekend here at Love's Field, and so Kirsten Deal, a senior, is going to get the start. She'll throw in the low 60s, curveball and rise ball mix. She'll mix down a little bit with their drop and change, but see a lot of curveball from the lefty and a rise ball up as well.
Strike one to Tyler Ellison. Home plate umpire Robert Gonzalez. Matt Dial at first, Brian Crochet at third. Tyler Ellison enjoying a career year. Has hit in 8 of her last 10 games. And one of 4 current Bulldogs batting .400 or better this year.
And Tony Baldwin shaking up the lineup for Georgia in this game. Leading Jaden Goodwin off, moving Tyler Ellison up, moving Roos down a bit, who had been their leadoff hitter.
"14 hits over the first 2 games of this series, Amanda, for Georgia. But as you and I have talked about coming into Game 3, just one of those has gone for extra bases. Tony Baldwin hoping that this shakeup will provide some juice and some oomph to this offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very often that you put 10 hits on the board and get run rolled. I mean, Oklahoma had 12 hits, so you only got out hit by 2, and you got run rolled by a team, all because of their explosive home run power and the fact they only had 1 extra base hit.
Full count. Ellison to short on a hop from Garcia, 2 down.
Oklahoma has also gotten 2 complete games, one from Audrey Lowry on Friday night in Game 1, and then one from Miley Wachenio in yesterday's Game 2, something in an SEC series Oklahoma's pitching staff had not yet done until this series. Oklahoma's pitching staff just continues to get great starts, great relief appearances, and develop as the season goes on.
Feel like they have, at the very least, 4 very viable arms with the emergence of Parker, who we've not yet seen in the circle in this series. Jen Rocha, of course, returning to the program in March after a medical leave of absence. And her presence makes a big difference to this Oklahoma program, but especially the bullpen.
A new face in Alyssa Parker, you mentioned, the freshman, and a transfer in Sydney Berzon, as well as another transfer in Miley Wachenio. Remember last year it was Sam Landry was the ace of this Oklahoma pitching staff. So with her graduation, she was just here for 1 year. Everybody else stepping up in different ways this season with new faces.
2-1 count to Sarah Gordon, who has the lone extra base hit of the series for Georgia. So Georgia team that is Top 20 in the NCAA offensively in a host of categories, including doubles. 13th with 88 on the year. Hitters count to Gordon. Slow roller to short. Ball did not leave the infield. And a smooth first inning for Kirsten Deal. OU's historic bats will come to the... Addison Fisher makes her second start of the series. The sophomore transfer from UCLA that not allowed a home run in over a month. Amanda gave up 2 to the Sooners in game 1.
Addison Fisher came over from UCLA. This is her first year playing with this Georgia Bulldog team and throws with really good velocity. Tony Baldwin says that she's the type that has a lot of room to grow. When she came out of high school, she was one of the top recruits, headed to UCLA for a year, and now here she is pitching the SEC.
Kai Miner leads it off for Oklahoma. It is a lineup that features 5 players that have hit at least 10 home runs. 8 players batting .400 or better entering the weekend. And a sensational leadoff hitter in Kai Miner, who, since taking over the leadoff spot, has sparked OU in a lot of ways. Elite speed at the top of this historically powerful Oklahoma offense. Miner to second, Ruse on to first, 1 down.
And Addison Fisher will throw a lot of drop balls and will induce a lot of ground balls like that last one to Ruse. So has one of the best defenses back behind her in the country in terms of fielding percentage. She'll throw 70, 72 miles an hour with that drop ball. Very good velocity. It breaks about 10 to 14 inches. This is hard down and forces a lot of ground ball outs. Her infield has to be ready, and with a high exit velocity, these Oklahoma Sooner hitters.
Ella Parker hit her 19th home run of the year in yesterday's 3-1 victory over Georgia. One of a handful of Sooners that not only ranks in the top 10 in the conference in home runs, but also in runs batted in.
Something that Addison Fisher did well in her start on Friday night when she pitched against the Sooner team is just attack the strike zone. She found herself in a lot of pitchers counts. Wells ended up hitting that solo home run off of her in the second inning, but for the most part early on that first time through, she did a great job of attacking the strike zone, using her drop ball and finding the corners. It's what she'll need to do here today too. Mixing her change up a little bit more as well to not get the call just right at the knees, maybe a little bit too far inside, but has mixed in that change up a little bit more early on than what she did on Friday.
Well, Tony Baldwin told us after her start on Friday that he felt like her pitch location was really good. Just a tip of the cap to some of the swings that Oklahoma put on those balls. In steps the senior Bella Emmerling. Career year across the board for Emmerling, who now famously moved out of the way to allow Kendall Wells to catch. Was the primary starting catcher last year for Oklahoma. This year learned a new position so she could stay in the lineup. Knowing how good of a catcher Kendall Wells is, she will bat 5th today.
I like the idea of throwing a little rise ball there by Fisher. It's one of her secondary pitches as she relies about 75–80% of the time on her drop ball, but talked about this on Friday. In order to beat these OU hitters, you kind of have to pitch against your scout a little.
2-2 off the glove of Fisher. Could be tough for Ruse. Got Emmerling at first. Great concentration by the second baseman. Well, for a second there, Amanda, looked like it could have been a double play ball. Instead, Parker moves up to second base.
That's tricky because Fisher had It bounced off of her glove, close play at first base, but Fisher had a chance to go up and grab that. And you're right, it would have been a double play, which would have been huge to get out of this inning, but instead it bounced off of her glove. Roos is just Johnny on the spot to make that play and make an out.
Gabby Garcia hit a pair of home runs, including one off Addison Fisher on night one of this series. Part of a monster night at the plate for the sophomore who drove in 6 runs.
That was one of those home runs off of Fisher. That was not a bad pitch really at all. It was a drop ball, low and away, right at her knees, and just Gabby Garcia probably going up, looking for a drop ball, got her barrel there. And so now you see past couple of pitches have been a rise ball up in the zone, trying to at least change the eye level of where Gabby Garcia is looking to then be able to go back down to her drop ball. So a couple of rises likely to go back to her drop here. Or the change, just throwing that in a little bit more. You can tell she's trying to pitch differently today than she did on Friday night. Again, 80% of the time, Fisher will go to that drop ball, but here already in the first inning, we're seeing a lot of rise and a lot of change up, trying to mix things up.
Two-out walk. Puts 2 on for Kendall Wells. Already broke the Oklahoma single-season home run record on Friday night. Has tied Carly Spade for number 2 all-time and is 1 home run shy of tying the great Laura Espinoza, whose record of 37 home runs has stood since 1995.
It's incredible that that record has been set in place for 30 years. It's unbelievable, especially with how much offense we've been seeing recently in our game. People have come close, but they've not tied her and they've not passed her. But Kendall Wells, the freshman, is right there in the thick of it, just smelling 37 home runs.
She has been on an epic tear.
Looks like she's really feeling the pressure in this moment. You can tell she's just pretty tight out there.
5'10" freshman imposing in the box, chasing the home run record. Top 3 in the country in slugging and runs batted in. And yet, in the words of Patty Gasso, she's the class clown of this Oklahoma Sooners team. Has already homered in back-to-back games in this series. "36 of her 57 hits this year have left the yard."
See, just pitching her carefully, which in SEC plays, she's only been walked 9 times, which is a pretty low number, especially when you think about how many home runs that she's hit. Not a ton of pitchers and teams have chosen to just full-blown pitch around her.
As they do here, to load the bases for Cassidy Pickering, who has 16 home runs this year. Just the first walk that we've seen from Wells in this series.
Well, she's really aggressive. You know, that's a big part of her game, is looking for pitches early in the count. 12 first pitch home runs. Very aggressive and sometimes chases.
Strike 1 to Pickering, who makes her first start of the weekend against Georgia. One of 5 returning All-Americans from last year's SEC regular season championship team. Playing with fire a little bit here if you're Addison Fisher. Back-to-back walks to load the bases, and now a 2-1 count to Pickering.
Her command is not quite here early in this game, and I attribute that to her trying to use different pitches, right, to get Oklahoma out and being a little bit uncomfortable with that.
Induces a weak pop-up foul territory. It is tracked by Bailey Lindemuth. And the strategy pays off. Walking the bases loaded, Fisher gets out of it. No runs after 1.
calling of Jen Rocha, just really mixing things up, giving them a lot of change-ups to deal with, a lot of off-speed pitches, just kind of pitching them a little bit differently than likely what Georgia was expecting.
Marissa Miller will lead it off in the cleanup spot here in the second inning against Kirsten Deal, who went 1-2-3 in the first, didn't allow a ball to get off the ground or leave the infield.
One thing that Tony Baldwin said about the freshmen and the transfers that he picked up in the transfer portal was that he felt like they struck gold with them. I mean, only lost 3 last year, didn't lose a ton, but brought in a great freshman class and a lot of great transfers from the portal that felt like were huge additions to their team, both in the circle and at the plate too.
One of the largest incoming groups that he has had as a head coach, dating back to 2022. 6 freshmen, 6 transfers. Playing today for a potential opportunity to solidify their resume as a regional host. Coming into the day, 15th in the RPI. You mentioned a regular season series finale against Florida next week. That too will be a big one for Tony Baldwin's club.
Well, they were right there with Texas last weekend whenever they hosted them in that Saturday, Sunday, Monday series. It came down to game 3. They had a game-tying home run in the 7th to push it to extras by Jaden Goodwin and had a chance to win the series against the defending national champs. Hit the ball well last weekend. But here this weekend, they're just have been a little bit off, just not been able to generate anything offensively. Randy Romlade in game 2 yesterday, their lefty pitcher pitched a gem against Oklahoma, only gave up 3 runs, and that was because of 2 pitches, 2 home runs hit off of her to lead to those 3 home runs. But she looked great in the circle, gave him a chance to win.
Anytime you hold this OU offense to 3 runs, you think, hey, we got a shot.
In the 7th inning, they were threatening with runners on, top of their order, looming. I mean, they had a real chance in that game. It's just been hard for them to generate momentum offensively in this series against Oklahoma's pitching.
Miller draws a leadoff walk. First Georgia Bulldog aboard this afternoon against Kirsten Deal. Gabby Novickus will come to the plate, and we will see a pitching change. Kirsten Deal will give way. Berzon, the LSU transfer, also celebrating senior weekend here in Norman. Back after this. On in the series is Sydney Berzon. Delivers a first pitch strike to Gabby Novickus.
Berzon will come in and throw a lot of drop balls, mix in a rise ball. Her rise ball, if you see an up pitch, is actually a little bit of an off-speed pitch in the sense that drop ball is about 64 miles an hour and her rise at 57. And also we'll mix in a changeup too. So definitely going to come in and work on her drop ball. Remember, she has a ton of SEC experience coming over from LSU, a ton of postseason experience, a big pickup in the offseason in the transfer portal, and All-American. You get to add to your staff. It gives them a different look and all of that experience in the circle.
Her first appearance in the circle for OU since April 18th. Against Arkansas, went 4 2/3, allowed just 2 earned runs on 2 hits. Ahead in the count, 1-2 to Novickus. Novickus, line down the line and left and fair off the wall. A long single as Marissa Miller stays put at second base. 2 on and nobody out for Georgia.
By far one of the best swings that Georgia has had. We saw 10 hits that were on the box score on game 1, but not a lot were squared up. There haven't been very many, like the swing that Novikic just had right there, being able to barrel one up hard and find a hole in the outfield. Tyler Ellison had one and Sarah Gordon had one. Beyond that, they've just not really struck the ball like that. The freshman stepping up after that walk and getting a hard single off the All-American.
Saw a lot of weakly induced contact yesterday. 7 lazy pop-ups and fly balls off the bat of Georgia Bulldogs hitters. And now Kirsten Roos, who has been batting leadoff, comes to the plate in the 6th hole. Time called by Tony Baldwin. Big moment here for Georgia. They have struggled, as we chronicled at the beginning of this inning, with runners on, with runners in scoring position in this series. Just 3 for 14 with RISP, and they've left 12 runners aboard over the first 2 games.
Well, and Roos has been their best home run hitter, so see if it pays off to move her from the leadoff spot to now in the 6th hole with 2 on. Or you could just show a bunt and lay down a bunt. Just trying to advance runners and execute here with no outs and 2 on, trying to give yourself a couple of opportunities with 2 runners in scoring position and less than 2 outs if that bunt is executed. And Roos has some good speed, too. Corners have been playing back, especially down the first base line.
To first, fielded on 2 knees by Emmerling. Pitches to second, covered by Garcia. Miller advances to third, and now the go-ahead run just 60 feet away with 1 down.
Yeah, that was a really good job by Isabella Emmerling. I know that didn't have like some high exit velocity coming off the bat, but it did have a lot of spin, and she got caught in between hops. So that was an important out to be able to make that force out at second and keep an extra runner out of scoring position. They needed that. I think you mentioned it earlier in this game, but the wind is really strong today. Yesterday in game 2, the flags just were not blowing at all, but today the wind is blowing hard toward center field and toward the right center field, toward right field. So winds are doing some type of thing, going to make it difficult for any ball that's put in the air.
1-0 count to Emily Digby, runner on, 2 down. Psychologically, it's got to do something for you, right? If you're Georgia, you've trailed the #1 team in the country to begin each of the first 2 games of this series. Now you flip the script in game 3.
Yeah, it's been the first dose of offensive momentum that they've had in this series in the last couple of games.
Digby continues it in the right field. Roos will go first to third. Runners at the corners with 2 down in the 2nd.
Good swing by Digby to get this drop ball outside, letting that pitch travel deep toward the plate, and he's not trying to do too much with it.
Digby continues it in the right field. Roos will go first.
Couple on again for Georgia in this inning with an opportunity. You want at least 1 more run out of this.
Natalie Ray this year has been fantastic with runners in scoring position, batting .438 and hitting .500 with 2 outs.
Kendall Wells, the freshman catcher, come out and talk to Sydney Berzon. She's the home run hitter that we've been talking about. She is not just a hitter. She is a leader back behind the plate, coming in and taking that catching spot, earning that catching spot.
Pretty remarkable to see the run she's been on offensively, given the fact that she starts every game behind the plate. Marathon woman, and doing it all as a freshman.
As a freshman too, or excuse me, as a catcher, you have a lot to think about in a first and third situation. You can tell she's really locked in. To see what Georgia is going to run. Are they going to try to advance that runner from first base and steal, or delay steal? In a first and third situation, there has to be so much communication on the defense to let everybody, especially the catcher, know what's going on and what the offense is trying to do.
Ray has driven in 12 runs over the last 15 games since entering the starting lineup. 2-2 with 2 on and 2 down. Takes ball 3. Top of the lineup looming with Jaden Goodwin on deck. Whoa!
Jane Goodwin has been so clutch. They call her Shorty, and she goes down with her barrel to get that drop ball. First the game. Georgia now with 3 runs in this top half of the inning. This is a big statement by the Bulldogs to score early.
Tony Baldwin has never been swept in SEC play since taking over as the head coach at Georgia in 2022. And he told us, look, we know Oklahoma is really good. They're like an all-star team. But we're not here to watch history be made. We're here to win ball games. You knew, Amanda, with the way the offense sort of sputtered over the first 2 games of this series, we were going to see a punch, a fight from this Georgia team. Not sure I expected to see it this early and this emphatically in Game 3.
Well, and they went 3 up, 3 down in the first inning with just some weak ground balls, but then a leadoff walk drawn by Marissa Miller is what got this party started. Addie Gasso making a quick pitching change, going from Kirsten Deal to Sydney Berzon, and they have been on Sydney Berzon. Remember, they've had experience against her. Not wearing an Oklahoma uniform, but they've seen Sydney Berzon before in the past pitching at LSU, so a little bit more familiarity than what they saw possibly from Lowry or Wichenio. Wichenio also transferring from an SEC school, but just being a sophomore versus Berzon being a senior.
0-1 count to Ellison. Berzon, of course, last year, second team All-SEC at LSU. Has pitched in many big games. 2-time All-American. Just misses with the 0-2.
Georgia's also taken a lot of close pitches. You've heard these fans get a little snippy about the strike zone, but I think they've done a good job of taking some pitches that have been a little bit off the plate, made Berzon bring one more on the plate that they like.
Another 2-2 count from Berzon with 2 on and 2 out. Spoiled by Ellison. What a difference a day makes. Already 3 runs in the second inning of Game 3 when they scored 3 combined over the first 2 games of the series. Chance to do more damage. Ellison lines out to Emmerling. That ends the second, but Georgia plates 3, leading the #1 team in the country. Welcome back to Norman, Oklahoma. Second inning of work for Addison Fisher, the first-year transfer from UCLA, who earlier this week announced on social media that in the last year she had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Continuing to play softball through that diagnosis. Still learning a lot about what playing softball with that disease looks like for her on a day-to-day basis, Amanda, but no doubt in the last week has received an incredible amount of support, and by making that post has probably inspired many players throughout the country.
Yeah, that post was really vulnerable moment for Addison Fisher that she addressed in that Instagram post and put herself out there. And you said it was a little over a year ago that she said right at the beginning of her freshman season in college she was diagnosed, and never really felt ready to just come out and share it, but it was because of Kirsten Roos, who has type 1 diabetes, her teammate and fellow transfer over there at second base, that really encouraged her to put it out there as they're both playing softball through these diseases.
One count to Abby Dayton to lead off the inning. A 3-0 lead for Georgia. Second start of the series for Fisher, who Tony Baldwin told us really had to work to put together a plan to manage the disease, to manage her recovery, her strength and conditioning, and of course pitching. Maybe most importantly out of all of those things. Got really dialed in, Amanda, with her nutrition, but in the midst of all of that, there was some uncertainty about her future on the softball diamond.
And it's something that she works through every day. At times, affects how much she can practice and this time that she has to put in outside of school and outside of the softball field to be able to balance and handle everything that she's going through.
Dealt with migraine headaches early in the fall. They feel like they've got that under control. It's all part of the cooperation between doctors and trainers and team staff, and of course Addison herself learning how to communicate what it is that she's feeling, what it is that she needs on a day-to-day basis.
Well, and Addison Fisher was someone that Tony Baldwin had recruited in high school, and then she chose to go to UCLA. He had actually said that he recruited her heavily with JT D'Amico, one of his assistants, their defense coach, his ties to the Northwest of the country. Remember, JT D'Amico was a coach at Washington, so tied up near that area where she's from in Oregon. And so Tony had actually flew out to Bend, Oregon, where Addison Fisher is from, before they played a Missouri series. It's like, well, you're going a little bit west to Missouri, you might as well keep going west to Oregon to watch her play and watch her pitch in a snow flurry, he said.
Gets a strikeout of Agbayani, one down.
She'd actually scheduled a visit to go to Georgia after her visit to go to UCLA, but then she went to UCLA and Tony said, I didn't ever see her after that. But because he had made that connection and that relationship during her early recruiting process, it was somebody when she got into the transfer portal that was going to be on her list. And so she went to the transfer portal and had a conversation with Tony and said, are there places to fish around Athens? Now you think about Athens versus LA. And so when she asked Tony that, Tony said, so you're telling me there's a chance for us to get you? And now here she is at Athens, Georgia. She can fish and has found a new home. Very far away from Oregon, but has found a new home.
She could pitch pretty well, too. Coming off maybe her best outing of the season against Texas in a series that Georgia had plenty of opportunities to win, ultimately falling 2-1 to the Longhorns. Game 3 extra innings defeat. But now an opportunity here against Oklahoma to sort of save the series after falling behind 2-0 in Norman. Two-one count to Sydney Barker with Abby Dayton at first after a leadoff walk.
See this little bit of a tighter strike zone that OU was feeling whenever they were out in the field. Now Addison Fisher is starting to feel it too. This umpire not really calling down the zone. Has to be a half ball on the plate, it seems like, for these pitches to get called. With both pitchers being drop ball pitchers right now who are in the game. Fisher for Georgia, Berzon for Oklahoma. Just trying to figure out this strike zone and see what these hitters will swing at and chase, and what exactly is going to get called.
Three-two. In the air to right. Tailing away from Gordon, makes the play, 2 down.
A couple of big outs after that leadoff walk for Addison Fisher to now face the top of the OU order. They haven't been able to advance that runner to second base, and now you have 2 outs and can try to get Kai Minor and get out of this thing after scoring 3 runs.
Remember, OU had the bases loaded in the first inning with 2 outs. Unable to capitalize. Kai Miner 0 for 1 today with a ground out to second base. To second, off the glove of Roos into center. Dayton will take third, and Miner slides in behind her at second base. Life for the Sooners in the bottom of the second with 2 outs.
It's not an easy play, but this is a play that you have to make if you're Roos. You have a force out at second, would have been out of the inning, and now Ella Parker and the professional hitters in this Oklahoma lineup are this defense the last couple of weekends, for as good as they have been in February and March and early April, they've made some pretty critical errors in the Texas series and this series too. And when you give Oklahoma extra chances, we know how this song goes. This is a chorus that's been played over and over and over again. They're so good at taking advantage at extra chances that are given to them.
Tying run comes to the plate with 2 outs in the second inning. Parker has already homered once in the series. Georgia coming into the weekend top 5 in the country, along with OU in fielding percentage.
Yeah, and we're talking about a vastly improved Georgia defense. You mentioned top 5 in fielding percentage. Last year, they ended the season 92nd in the nation in fielding percentage. So their defense, they've really been able to rely on this season.
Fisher working ahead.
Be able to sneak in this drop ball. It is not, as a pitcher, when you're going up against home run hitters, especially a right-handed pitcher throwing into a left-handed power hitter, it can be difficult to trust yourself to go inside with any pitch that you throw inside to a lefty, and Fisher's doing it in this AB. I don't love the pitch call. I would have gone back to that drop ball inside that Ella Parker wanted no part of. Instead, it's a rise ball on the outside corner, a drop ball that just stays up. And Ella Parker is going to hit that mistake 9 times out of 10, especially with 2 strikes and 2 runners on. She is a hitter that wants to hit and drive in runs.
Game tying run is aboard for Bella Emmerling. 2 down in the second.
That's why that error, Matt, was so critical, and they had a chance to get out of the inning. He passed the bat to Parker, and now because they were given an extra opportunity after Georgia scores 3, Oklahoma comes back and scores 2.
Both runs unearned. And Emmerling this year with runners on has hit nearly 500. And 452 with 2 outs. The 1-1 goes after it upstairs.
When she swings, I mean, it is a vicious hack. There is no holding back. Patty Gasso's even laughing a little bit in the third base coach's box that she just chased that pitch, but she swings so hard.
Fisher battles back for a strikeout, but OU plates 2 thanks to
this year with all the offense in our game. And don't forget about that, it was Friday that Megan Grant broke Stacey Newman's single season home run record, the UCLA record. And oddly enough, so that was Friday and Megan Grant's first at bat, and she did it on the first pitch, just like Kendall Wells did in Friday's game. Her first at bat, first pitch, breaking Jocelyn Allo's record.
Megan Grant is not far off Kendall Wells.
Nope.
Kendall Wells today was pitched around in her only plate appearance so far. That happens a few more times. Maybe Megan Grant gets something to hit. We're talking about a 2-horse race to see who's going to get to Laura Espinosa's record first.
Matt, you're not wrong. Megan Grant already has 3 against Washington this weekend, so all it takes is for her to have a 2-home run game and for Wells to go home runless in this game, and boom, she's tied her at 36. And look at the OPS for Megan Grant too. It's over 2,000. We are in April, deep into April, and because she takes so many walks, 56 walks compared to Wells, her OPS is a little bit higher because her on-base percentage is so much higher. So you think about Grant being a senior, a little bit more patient. Maybe she's not getting as much to hit. I think overall probably she's just a more patient hitter than what the freshman is in Kendall Wells right now. So Wells has a few more strikeouts than Grant. Grant's super patient, draws those walks. But honestly, if Grant maybe chased a little bit more and didn't have 56 walks, maybe she would be the one in the home run lead right now.
So in some ways, the freshman's eagerness at the plate has helped her, at least in terms of chasing the home run record.
Yeah, and you look at their chase rates, and Kendall Wells chases a lot more than what Megan Grant does. So it's just interesting. You know, one's lefty, and Megan Grant, she's a senior, and one's a freshman righty power hitter, and Kendall Wells. And, you know, you forget that she is a freshman because she's hit 36 home runs, but any freshman is going to come in and see this SEC pitching and different spin, higher velocities, better pitching, more experience, and they're just going to chase a little bit more. We're seeing that from Wells. But Megan Grant is right there on her heels.
Well, you and I talked about it yesterday, Amanda. It's reminiscent in many ways of that 1998 Major League Baseball home run chase between Sosa and McGuire, going after Roger Maris's record. 2-1 popped up behind home. It'll get out of play.
This makes it so fun. I mean, Megan Grant has only struck out 11 times. Kendall Wells has struck out 26 times. So walk to strikeout ratio 29 to 26 for Wells, and for Grant 56 to 11. And I'm sure OU fans are worried about a couple of records when it's all said and done. That single season home run record, but also the team record, because UCLA, in the span of 24 hours, was right there breaking the last year, or what had been the previous D1 team record. They're at 162 home runs as a team now.
Second walk of the game for Marissa Miller. Puts a runner aboard for Gabby Novickas. There are a whole bunch of single season records up for grabs, both individually within programs and team-wise. Look at this. UCLA, OU, of course, breaking the record that they set back in 2021 with 161 home runs. But then we've talked about it, the home run race that's going on within the Texas program between Reese Atwood and Katie Stewart. The home run record that UCLA's Megan
Grant records and the offenses that UCLA and Oklahoma have put together, both of them have legitimate chances of getting to 200 home runs. It used to be a big deal for a team to have 100 home runs, and both of them are chasing 200 this year.
Alyssa Parker comes into the circle. She's accounted for 11 home runs this year for Oklahoma. And oh, by the way, has shown her prowess in the circle as well. Pretty remarkable to see the history being rewritten around the country. Well, we've been talking about this for a while, I feel like over the last couple of years, Amanda, but with how much information is out there and the scouts and the thoroughness of those scouts for these offenses, makes you wonder what adjustment will be made from the pitching side of things in the years to come.
Yeah, it does, and it's just difficult to be a pitcher in our sport right now. And I'm interested to see if we have back-to-back years of this generational offense, or if next year the numbers go down, as Alyssa Parker has been so good in relief. She can hit a little bit too, as you mentioned, but the way that she competes, OU needed somebody to come in and throw strikes. Both times they've made a pitching change, it's been after a walk, and you know, Patty Gasso wants somebody to come in, compete, command the zone, and feed her defense a lot of ground balls.
Ooh, vicious off-speed pitch there. Had Roos way out in front.
That's that changeup that Alyssa Parker likes to throw. She will drop that pitch down all the way to 45 miles an hour.
Roos pops it up in the center underneath Minor, and that will do it for Georgia. Kendall Wells will bat second in the
15% home run rate. And the D1 average home run per whatever at bat, I mean, just over 4. Hitting a home run every 4 at bats, and the D1 average is 25. It's unbelievable what she's been able to do.
broke earlier this weekend Jocelyn Alo's single season program home run record of 34, which Jocelyn set in the World Series in 2022. Wells hit her 35th before flipping the calendar to May. The pace she is on has been mind-boggling. The 3-1 count to Gabby Garcia. Was walked in her first at bat by Fisher.
Well, and if you take Gabby Garcia's year and the year that she's having inside SEC play, she'd be a candidate for SEC Player of the Year. I wrote down a few that would be in the hunt. Would be Katie Stewart from Texas, Gabby Garcia here at OU. Of course, Kendall Wells is on deck, and Michaela Work. 8 home runs, a ton of RBIs for Work. Kind of the same in those other players that I just named. But you're looking at Kendall Wells stepping up to the plate now is likely going to be the SEC Player of the Year as a freshman, which no freshman has ever done that before.
Will she get a pitch to hit? Madison Fisher stayed away from her to load the bases back in the first inning. 1 home run away from tying the 30-year-old record set by Laura Espinoza.
So she just got a strike called on her because of the action clock. You need to be in the box when there's 12 seconds left. So the umpire went ahead and gave her a strike. So she'll start with an 0-1 count.
Maybe that entices Fisher to go after her.
Yeah, I'm interested to see because, you know, in that first at bat, it didn't really look like at all they gave her anything to hit, which has not necessarily been the case in these SEC games. Trying to see if I can get that outside drop ball called for a strike, but I do think that it plays a part the fact that Cassidy Pickering is hitting behind Kendall Wells today. Pickering in her last 10 games, just 2 for 22. In the previous games, Lexi McDaniel hit behind Kendall Wells in game 1, and then Ella Parker hit behind her in game 2 when she hit the 2-hole.
3
for Georgia, attack that outside part of the plate the way that they did, and her first hit Wells up, the best home run hitter in the country. Great job by Fisher using that drop ball and turning 2.
Did you feel like that was a good pitch to hit for Kendall Wells?
I think she chased a little bit and got herself out there.
0-1 to Pickering.
Which I think, again, we talked about this in comparison to Megan Grant, but you know, Kendall Wells just chases a little bit more. Her chase rate is up, but so is Megan Grant's as a freshman.
That double play ball, by the way, was the first double play that Kendall Wells has grounded into all year. Most of the balls she makes contact with fly a long way. Time called here by Tony Baldwin.
And to your point, I mean, Kendall Wells has 36 home runs, but just 3 doubles. So, when she hits it in the air,
there's a trend here.
Yeah, it's going out of here because of how strong she is.
Three-one count to Cassidy Pickering, 2 down for Addison Fisher, who Tony Baldwin told us has been pitching the best she has pitched certainly since coming to Georgia. and among the best that they've seen from her in her brief career coming over from UCLA in the offseason.
At this point, Cassidy Pickering will take this ground ball to the right side that just hits off the base, and that caused it to go over the head of Novickus. Trying to get behind it likely would have been an out, but she gets the break, and a much-needed break for Pickering. As we mentioned, last 10 games, Pickering hitting .091 with no extra base hits.
Tying run in scoring position here in the bottom of the third as Abby Dayton comes to the plate. Dayton homered in game one. Part of a 4-home run day, 2 of those coming off of Fisher. Oklahoma tagged Fisher for 4 earned runs on Friday, matching a season high. She's looked sharp mostly in her second outing against OU of the weekend. Maybe a few more free passes than she would have liked, but the 2 runs that Oklahoma has scored to this point, both unearned. Dayton to second base, handled by Roos, and Fisher is out of the third. We will chat with Patty Gasso. What she has done offensively, given all that's put on her shoulders defensively.
Yeah, I mean, she catches a lot. It's not every game, but it's most games, and we've seen her back behind the plate in almost all the games in SEC play. It's a lot for a catcher, you know, to get back there, and especially in the tournament weekends in February, and how much she caught back then, and it being her first freshman year of going through a full college season. It's just a lot to take on, especially to keep your legs fresh, to be able to keep them fresh, to generate power, to be able to hit. So much of that power comes from your bottom half. So that home run number is really not trailed off, even though we're at the end of April and she has caught so much.
1-1 flared into center off the arm of Parker for another quick out. She used just 6 pitches to get the first 2 outs of the third inning. Coming in to relieve Sydney Berzon. Now takes on Emily Digby with the bases clear and 1 down.
Think about how young that OU is up the middle of the field right now. You have a catcher back behind the plate that's a freshman. You have a freshman pitcher and then a freshman center fielder, and then just a sophomore at shortstop. So really young up the middle of the field. Of course, Agbayani at second as a senior and a Gold Glover, but just so much youth on this OU team. And then Barker as well over on the right, on the left side at third, another sophomore. And you really forget about how young overall that Oklahoma is, especially when Parker comes in and Wells is behind the plate and you have a freshman battery.
Another filthy pitch from Parker. You can see these Georgia batters, man, trying to make that adjustment mid-swing almost.
Well, it's so hard because she can ramp it up, Parker can, to 68, 69, 70, but then she will drop in her changeup at 45, 46 miles an hour, and it just floats on in.
2-2 chopper down the third base line and foul.
Think about the way that Barker, not to be confused with Parker, as there's 2 Parkers on OU's team, but Barker over there at third base has played third base this weekend. She's made a couple of really key plays for OU's defense.
Taking over at third for Nellie McEnroe-Marinas. Suffered a season-ending injury. There were third base tryouts for Patty Gasso. Sydney Barker ended up winning out. Nellie, such a big piece to this team last year and then again to start 2026. Wish her the best in her recovery. Charging in is minor, but instead it's the Gold Glover. Agbayani going deep into center field.
That takes so much trust of Agbayani and knowing where Minor is. And I don't know what the communication was exactly like. Minor gave way right at the last minute as Agbayani must have called her. Maybe Miners just saw her have such a good beat on it. Big time range for Agbayani.
Received a golden ticket earlier this weekend from AUSL Commissioner Kim Ng. The 16th awarded to a Division I player this year. So she will be drafted in the upcoming professional league.
She's a leader on their defense, as Oklahoma not only has the best offense in the country, but one of the best defenses in the country historically. Top 5, top 10 in fielding percentage. And, you know, Sydney Barker made that play at third base where she robbed a ball in the 5-6 hole, threw off of her knees to go to first base to make the out. And I saw that play again on social media and from a different view than what we showed on the broadcast. And Nellie McEnroe-Marinas was her biggest cheerleader. They showed that play in just like a slow motion view, and just behind Sydney Barker as she's making that play, Nellie McEnroe-Marinas was in a different spot in the dugout. You could see her in the hole, arms up, cheering her on, her biggest cheerleader, knowing that she's hurt and taking her spot there at third base.
McEnroe-Marinas last year as an underclassman was a captain on this Oklahoma team, which is rare in this program. Speaks to the leadership and frankly what this program thinks of Nellie.
She's a leader, and you know, she was a leader when she was an everyday starter, but she continues to be a leader in that dugout, keeping everybody loose. She's
1, 2, 3 in the fourth. Took over. Today they're trying to avoid a sweep against Oklahoma and take down the #1 team in the country for the first time since 2021. Entering the bottom of the fourth with a 1-run lead, and Addison Fisher back in the circle. Agbayani made that excellent play from second base and shallow center last half inning, leads it off for OU. Agbayani got down early in her first at bat against Fisher. Ultimately struck out swinging.
Fisher has mixed a little bit more with her changeup today, and it hasn't necessarily been a strike or an out pitch for her, but it's been a pitch that she's continued to throw to show Oklahoma. I don't really know how that wasn't a strike right there, but I mean, just even being able to throw that pitch, show them a different speed. She's not let off of that pitch despite it not being a called strike for her in this game.
She's only given up 2 hits in the game so far. Has walked 5. Now, 2 of those felt almost like intentional walks. Loaded the bases with Garcia and Wells in the first, then danced out of it. Misses there on the 3-2. Her 6th free pass. That's a new career high in a single game for Fisher. And it puts the game-tying run aboard to start the fourth for OU. Tight zone both ways this afternoon at Love's Field, and now the 9-hitter Sydney Barker digs in. Midway through the game, kind of have a feel for what the zone's going to be. When you were in the circle, Amanda, you knew the zone was a little tighter than maybe you are accustomed to. How did you handle that?
Have to find a way to fight and make it's small adjustments, right? Where you're maybe working 1 centimeter or 1 inch more on the plate or a little bit more up, and you try not to make too big of adjustments where maybe that 1 inch that you're trying to move the ball in turns into 4 or 5 inches and gets more on the plate. So it's really frustrating as a pitcher, honestly, when some of those pitches that you're throwing, you've seen called strikes over and over again throughout the year, but you're not getting them here.
Barker, high pop-up right field, calling for it. Gordon makes the catch, 1 down.
It's talked about her changeup not necessarily being an out pitch for her, but got an out pitch there on that fly ball. Barker out in front of her changeup and chased that a little bit for the first out. But she's doing a good job, Addison Fisher is, with that tighter strike zone of just battling through it.
Kai Miner reached on an error back in the 2nd inning. The inning in which OU plated both of their runs, both of which unearned. Fisher, just like that. And Natalie Ray is down in left center field as she tried to make a leap at that ball. Got into the starting lineup over the last 15 games for Georgia after transferring in at semester from North Georgia. Climbs the wall. And it almost looked like when she was climbing it, that's when it happened, Amanda, when her cleat went into the wall.
Yeah, that is because she didn't even land down back on it. She tried to avoid it. It's a good effort by her because that home run off of Miner's bat was more of a line drive, just getting over the fence where she felt like she was going to have a chance to rob a home run there, and good read by her off the bat. Not a bad pitch at all by...
Frankly, hasn't that been the theme of some of these home runs this weekend for OU? Tony Baldwin talked about it, Amanda, after his team gave up 4 homers on night 1. Good pitcher's pitches that this Oklahoma offense is just hitting out of the park. Delaney Sullivan will come in to replace Natalie Ray. We'll also have a pitching change for the Georgia Bulldogs. Addison Fisher exits in the 4th and gives way to Randy Rolling, who frankly had an excellent start in game 2 yesterday, allowed just 3 runs against Oklahoma off 2 homers. Saddled with the loss in a 3-1 effort.
Yeah, when you see a swing like that on your pitcher's best pitch, a pitch, especially 3rd time through the order that Oklahoma was going to see Fisher, and you see that home run on that pitch, like, all right, it's time to make a pitching change, especially when you know that you have Randy Rolling coming in behind Fisher. Randy Rolling, a junior, and she pitched so well yesterday. Coming from the left-hand side will give a different look than what Fisher gave to these Oklahoma hitters. So great time to make a pitching change.
Those 6 walks really didn't hurt Fisher until this inning. Walked the leadoff hitter Ilana Agbayani, and then 2 batters later gives up the go-ahead run to Kai Miner. The margins against this Oklahoma team, Amanda, so thin.
So 3 of the 4 runs that have scored have been 2 off of free passes and then 1 off of an error that have come around to score. And it's something that we've seen from Oklahoma's offense. When you give them a freebie in any type of way, they always capitalize on it.
Tough sledding for Randy Rolling. Fresh in off the bench, you got to take on Ella Parker, who's hit 19 homers. Goes right after her for strike one.
And Ella Parker hit that home run yesterday off of rolling.
Rips this into right field, headed towards the wall. Parker thinking two. Thrown in from Gordon, but cut off. It's a one-out double for Parker.
This is a changeup, and it looked like Ella Parker was just expecting it, not fooled at all. Lets her front foot hover just a little bit before she slams it down and gets on time with that changeup. Great piece of hitting by Ella Parker yet again.
Runner in scoring position for Bella Emmerling.
Think about how big Bella Emmerling was last week and kind of turning the tide for Oklahoma. You mentioned that they had lost 3 of 4 games in a time span for the first time since 2019 at the Women's College World Series, around that time when it happened. And Bella Emmerling and her at-bats, her home runs, her weekend was a large part. Her leadership was a large part of turning the tide for them last week to get them back on track.
Homered in 4 straight games. Goes down swinging here. Big strikeout for Rolling. 2 down.
And now she's just chasing a little bit too much. You're seeing her get so far out of her strike zone. She's still swinging big, but she's chasing more often. It's hurting her.
Ball 1 to Gabby Garcia. Knocked a pair of homers in game 1. It's part of a 6 RBI day. Has twice walked today. Kendall Wells wondering if she'll get an at-bat here in the 4th with 2 down. Kendall Wells today has walked and ground into a double play ball. Earlier this season broke the NCAA single season freshman home run record and the SEC single season home run record in record time. On Friday night, she broke the OU single season home run record previously held by Jocelyn Allo with her 35th home run. She sits on 36. One-two from Rolling.
And so her first at bat in game 1, it was her first home run, and it was off at the first pitch. Her home run in yesterday's game came in a full count where she worked counts much deeper in all of her at bats of game 2.
In the air to center, shallow. And it is caught by Digby. Kai Minor does drill it out of the Alabama. Parker fielding a bunt to start the inning by Jaden Goodwin, not in time. And it is Goodwin's second time aboard today. First hit of the day against Parker. came in to relieve Sydney Berzon in the third. Amanda Scarborough will be at the SEC tournament. You feel like even though Oklahoma has played so well this year, it's wide open. Think about Alabama. They're right there behind them. Florida's looked good lately.
The SEC tournament is wide open, and honestly, I feel like so is the Women's College World Series. It's going to be an awesome postseason, and we'll start with those conference tournaments that week. So many games that we'll have, or all the games that we'll have of the SEC tournament. So many games that you can just sit back and watch. ACC tournament as well. A lot of conference championships on our networks. And I feel like, you know, with Oklahoma's pitching depth that they've shown lately and their offense, they have a great shot to make a run at that tournament. Made it the championship game last year. And unfortunately, between them and A&M, that championship game got rained out. We didn't get a chance to play it, so hopeful for better weather this year at the SEC tournament and get to play that game.
Hitters count to Tyler Ellison. Full, strike two.
She does such a good job of disguising that 45, 47 mile an hour changeup that it can just tie hitters up. You're so worried about the changeup, and then she can blow it by you. Seeing wrong, anticipating wrong, and just throws a drop ball in the inside corner and just goes right past her for the looking strikeout.
Sarah Gordon represents the game-tying run. Still has the only extra base hit of the weekend for Georgia. Hard to believe this team has been limited to just one, Amanda, when they're top 15 in the country in doubles coming into the day.
Sarah Gordon just threw her barrel to that outside pitch, and off the bat, I thought that was just going to be an easy fly ball to right field. I mean, look at her get this outside pitch, just literally throws her barrel down to the outside corner, and let that pitch travel, let Parker provide the power to that outside corner. The wind blowing toward right field helped it get out of here and just out of the reach of Ella Parker out there in right field. That was an awesome shot to see just how close that was to her being able to rob it.
You're right. On a normal day, that ball might not get out of here, but the flags have been blowing out to right field heavily all afternoon. And Sarah Gordon just changed the entire dynamic of this game, because before that, Amanda, it felt like Alyssa Parker was going to just cruise through this thing with a lead. Now we're tied at 5 in the top of the 5th with one down.
Love the response. That response had been missing from Georgia in game 1 and game 2, just being able to punch right back. You put up that 3 spot in the bottom of the 4th inning, and then now here Georgia comes with their own home run. You had just been talking about the lack of extra base hits. That's how you keep up with OU's offense. If they're going to swing it big, you have to swing it big too and be able to respond with a home run like that.
The Jaden Goodwin bunt single is what got this rally started. Georgia not going away quietly. They have yet to be swept in an SEC series this year. And now Marissa Miller comes to the plate.
Georgia has just been so much better with runners on. They're 5 for 10 with runners on compared to OU today, 3 for 14 with runners on.
And coming into the day, they were just 6 for 25 with runners on in the series, batting .240, well below their season average. If nothing else, today has been a great show of fight from Georgia. still very much in this thing. And the win still very much for the taking here in the 5th. 2-2 to Miller.
It's a prime example right there of just managing the strike zone better. Something that Tony Baldwin talked about in his coach's interview in the 4th inning was that they were doing a better job of that in this game.
Miller draws her 3rd walk of the day. And now the go-ahead run is aboard for Tony Baldwin's Georgia Bulldogs. Patty Gasso calls time. Might we see a change with Gabby Novickus coming to the plate? First pitch swinging for Novickus against Miley Wachenio, who yesterday went the distance in a complete game victory for the first time since March 29th.
Yeah, she looked really good. Only gave up 4 hits, had 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Something that both Audrey Lowry did in game 1 and Miley Wachenio in game 2 was just throw a lot of strikes. In both games combined, just 1 walk between Lowry and Wachenio. Really commanding the strike zone very well in those 2 complete games.
0-2.
Remember, there were a lot of pop-ups for Georgia and strikeouts as well. That was the bulk of their outs, came via just kind of lazy, weak fly balls, and then strikeouts too for Wachenio. We'll see if they can make an adjustment to try to get on top of some pitches here against her and battle that rise ball that she throws. And changeup as well. I mean, that's the tough part about the mix that she throws. She'll lean on her rise ball up in the zone in the upper 60s, and then she'll drop in a changeup too and want you to chase that pitch in the dirt. We saw Georgia hitters do that against her yesterday.
Novickus has 5 homers this year, the last on April 10th against Missouri. Freshman has had an excellent season. Tony Baldwin told us he expected to see her name in the top 25 Freshman of the Year watch list this week. Her name was left out.
This pitch looked a little bit up to me, a little bit off the plate. You saw Wells kind of lean that way to go get that curveball.
Three hits in the series, including a run batted in for Novickus. Goes down looking here. 2 gone in the 5th.
Great adjustment by Wachenio. We replayed that one curveball that was a little bit too high and off, and she adjusted to get the strike called there. Better at the knees, maybe an inch or 2 more toward the plate to get the strike called against a Novickus. Great at bat there.
8-pitch battle, ultimately won by Wachenio. One 0 to Roos.
Saw Tony Baldwin talking to Roos over in the dugout when Wachenio was warming up and kind of motioning as if he was swinging, how yesterday she maybe had a tendency to get underneath some pitches and wanting her to be able to get on top of some with her bat path like that.
Tough to get it past that slick infield duo of Garcia and Agbayani. But
against SEC opponents, drops over 100 points. Their home runs per game also drop. which again is expected because the SEC is the best conference in the country. So you're facing weekend in, weekend out, a ranked opponent, top 10, top 5 opponent, and they're just scouting you versus opposed to tournaments that they play in February and early March. You're scouting so many different teams. Now when you go into a weekend, you're just scouting this one offense that you're going to throw against and find all their weaknesses.
Randy Rolling back in the circle, pitching in a tie game. Taking on Lexi McDaniel, pinch hitting for Cassidy Pickering. McDaniel 3 hits in the series, riding a 3-game hitting streak. Two of her 3 hits in the series came against Randy Rolling in game 2. Flared in the center. Back on it to make the catch, Roos. 1 down.
Definitely think in this game, OU is chased a little bit more. You saw McDaniel chase on that hitter's count and help rolling out. Seen Emerling have some chases, even Kendall Wells maybe chasing a pitch that rolled her into a double play in her second at bat. That little shuffle through the box. Abby Dayton, a slapper all growing up, showing that she was in the back of the box and then kind of shuffled forward to do more of a full swing. That was not necessarily a slap. Just showing something different. Now she'll just stay feet put in the back of the box, just giving these defenders something a little different. It was a great story that Abby Dayton told me last year, that she was 13 and tried to convince her parents to go to slapping class and lessons. They're like, no, you can't do that right now. So she ended up going on YouTube and would sit in the office for hours and take notes in her notebook watching UCLA's Chip Bennett, and then would go out into the cage and start trying to be like her. And so finally she was working so hard at slapping and putting in the time. They saw her working in the cages like that, like, okay, you can go to slapping classes now. But she earned that trust of her parents that this was something that she was actually interested in doing by putting the time, effort, and energy to studying one of the greats, Chip Bennett.
Switched from righty to lefty as a 13-year-old. And interestingly, Amanda, of course, went to Utah out of high school, was coached there by DJ Gasso. Patty's son, who's now the hitting coach at Arkansas, told us last year that she didn't know how to really hit the ball until working with DJ Gasso.
Well, and so invested, Matt, that her dad had her do FFA, and she raised pigs, and that allowed her to pay for lessons. So made money in order to contribute to be able to pay for lessons, and they just meant so much to her. She said they meant even more to her to go to lessons because she earned the money to be able to pay for them to do it.
Draws a big walk there. Second of the day for Abby Dayton, who was part of Future Farmers of America, FFA. Now on first base as the go-ahead run. And Ailana Agbayani will come to the plate after a 9-pitch at bat worked by Dayton. 7th walk of the day for OU. And there is Patty and her other son, JT, chatting with Agbayani and Sydney Barker, both 2 up here in the bottom of the 5th. with the top of the lineup and Kai Minor looming after these two. OU in the midst of a 4-game win streak. #1 team in the country, #1 in the SEC by a game and a half. On top of Alabama, who smoked Tennessee last night. Game 2 of that series today. Game 3 tomorrow on SEC Network. Trying to maintain their lead for back-to-back regular season SEC crowns.
Alabama beat Tennessee in a big way. 12-0 win, run roll win for them. Carlin Pickett's even got that start in Tennessee. Just did not look sharp. Alabama did. They took advantage of a bunch of mistakes.
Boy, that beandog by Ani. And now she'll go up to first.
Getting that back elbow, that just, you can just imagine how that feels when you hit your funny bone on something. Imagine a 65, 67 mile an hour softball coming into your elbow and the inner part of it. Imagine how that would feel. Oh.
Not good.
Not good at all.
Not good tomorrow. So 2 on, 1 out for Sydney Barker. She's wearing a smile, though. Alana Agbayani.
She always does. A little joy over there.
Barker's 2 flyouts have both been to right field. Wind is blowing that way.
And you have runners who run really well, and Barker runs well. It's a double play opportunity, but Georgia's defense would need to be very quick. But a couple of different ways to turn a double play, but they have to be fast, they have to be sharp, because they have speed on the bases everywhere.
Took over at third base for Nellie McEnroe-Marinas this year after the star in the hot corner tore her ACL. And when she took over at third base, Patty Gasso told her, look, I just want you to focus on defense. Whatever you give us at the plate is the cherry on top. She has exceeded expectations offensively, however, batting .276.
Just flown out to right field on both of her at bats. See if she can make an adjustment here to try to get on top of something, or more of a line drive that can find a hole.
Go ahead run at second base. 2-2 count. I fought that one off. It was upstairs. And the count stays at 2 apiece. Strikeout for the second out of the inning.
It's going to be a screwball that Randy Rolling throws in here and just throws it to a perfect spot. Gets a swing and miss. That spot with that pitch against a right-handed hitter does not get much better than that.
And now Chelsea Wilkinson out of the dugout to chat with her relief pitcher. Last time Kai Minor came to the plate, hit a 2-run bomb that knocked Addison Fisher out of the game. This part of the order has given fits to just about everybody they faced this year, but particularly today. Minor has reached twice, including a home run, and behind her, Parker has reached all 3 times she's come to the plate, including a 2 RBI single and a double, which came off Rolling in the 4th. Minor batting .425 with runners in scoring position as the go-ahead run at second base.
Rolling's doing a great job of spotting up her side-to-side pitches. That was a curveball, the first pitch screwball. Struck out Sydney Barker on that screwball. She's throwing those pitches at a really good height in this game. Needs to keep it there or even a little bit lower, and if you go up, it has to be up.
Oh, 2 from Rolling.
It's a good miss. See if you can get Kai Minor to chase that pitch with 2 strikes. A freshman who oftentimes like to chase, get themselves out, but a good take by Minor to not chase that pitch out off the plate.
Minor chases that. Pops it up in the infield. Roos with the catch. Oklahoma strands 2. Georgia has an opportunity to regain the lead when we return. What a back and forth affair this afternoon. Georgia jumped out to an early lead in game 3, their first early lead of the series. Oklahoma strikes back, takes the lead. Georgia responds with a 2-run homer by Sarah Gordon. We are tied at 5, entering the 6th. Sooners have used 4 different pitchers. They sent Miley with Chenio back into the circle after she came in to relieve Alyssa Parker in the 5th. 1 pitch, 1 out. Georgia is 1-7 in 1-run games. They've been so close so many times, Amanda, but it's been the lack of the clutch pitch or the clutch hit late that has plagued this team.
Yeah, which can turn around at any point in a season, but up to this point, that kind of clutch gene, clutch factor has not necessarily been on Georgia's offensive side.
Six of Georgia's last 8 losses have been by 2 runs or less, including game 2 yesterday against Oklahoma, falling 3-1. And this is a team that is very much still in consideration for hosting a regional. Top 16 in the RPI, of course, top 15 team in the country per all the polls. A win today to avoid not only an SEC sweep, but to beat the #1 team in the country. How impactful might that be for their resume on Selection Sunday?
They have a tough next weekend against Florida, so it does not get much easier.
Digby might have gotten tagged, and she did. And that also caught Kendall Wells on a ricochet. Both players writhing a little bit as Digby walks slowly up to first. Caught Wells, it looked like in the gut almost.
Yeah, it did. The left side of her upper body there just past her pad, and then for Digby, I think that's somewhere on her wrist, her hand. Yeah.
Both head coaches out looking at their respective players. And Home plate umpire going to give these players a little bit extra time just to shake it off. Robert Gonzalez behind the plate today. Regardless, go-ahead run is now aboard for Georgia in the 6th. And Delaney Sullivan will come to the plate for her first at-bat of the afternoon. Remember, she replaced Natalie Ray in center a couple of innings ago after Ray went up to try and rob a home run ball. Sullivan this year has been a starter at times, though this is her first at bat of the series.
She's so fast. I would lean into her short game here. Shows swinging away, but I like the way that Jade Goodwin laid down a bunt for a hit earlier in this game. I would try to do the same thing, and if possible, try to pull it down the first base side. Sullivan is so fast. She has so much speed. You see Sydney Barker playing a little bit up the line, respecting that speed. There she shows it.
Now a 2-1 count rather to Sullivan, with Jaden Goodwin due up. Top of the order looming for Georgia. Three and one to Sullivan.
Sullivan, which is going to go ahead and take that one all the way, knowing top of the order is on deck. Chino struggling to find the strike zone. Looked like a clear take there.
Rung up looking. Sullivan taking all the way. And with Chenio battles back from down 3-1, second out of the 6th.
The last 3 strikeouts for Georgia have all been looking. So Jen Rocha mixing things up with Chenio throwing that screwball on the outside corner and getting a little bit off the plate, getting the call for an important second out with the top of the order up for Georgia.
You mentioned the Dogs hitting much better today with runners aboard. Jaden Goodwin has hit .463 this year with runners on. Down in the count, 0-1. Goodwin right side, gets off the foot of Emmerling, and wisely going first to third, Digby. Go ahead run just 60 feet away.
First year that Bella Emmerling is over there trying to see that ball off the bat with the left-handed hitter and a runner running in front of you, trying to make that play. It's not easy, and it also had spin off of it because it was a little bit more off the end of the bat. So it looks like it is an easy play, and most first basemen make that play look easy. But if you're newer over there, it's a challenging play, all things considered.
Was the primary starting catcher last year for Oklahoma. And now runners at the corners for Tyler Ellison.
And that will go down as an error on Emmerling, by the way. Just, it's the right call, but a lot of factors to consider.
Ellison down in the count, 0-2, seeking her first hit of the day. A chance to give Georgia the lead again. 2 down in the top of the 6th. Go ahead run at third. And she leaves 2 aboard for Georgia in this. Since they have 26 combined conference titles, 18 trips to the Women's College World Series, and 8 national championships. Apparently a lot can change in 3 decades.
In 1995, SEC softball wasn't even around. That is how long Laura Espinosa's 37 home run season, that record has stood the test of time.
Ella Parker handcuffed, popped up middle of the infield, and it is Bruce with the catch, 1 down.
It is crazy to think about just how much has happened since she had that season. It's just unbelievable.
Bella Emmerling digs in with one down and the base is empty. Takes the first pitch in the dirt from Randy Rowling.
It's going to be important for Bella Emmerling not to chase in this at-bat. It's exactly what Randy Rowling wants her to do, and Chelsea Wilkinson, the pitch caller for Georgia, want her to do.
Ground ball to short. Slung across her body by Digby. 2 down.
It's a big out right there with how big Emmerling swings and her ability to change the game, and with one swing. Not out of it yet, with more home run hitters potentially coming up in this inning, including Gabby Garcia, who hit 2 just on Friday night.
Back-to-back 20 home run seasons for the sophomore. Has reached all 3 times she's come to the plate today. Looks at strike 1. Kendall Wells on deck with 2 outs in the 6th. Tied at 5. 1-1 count to Garcia. Wells today has walked, grounded out, and popped out.
Get her hands to this pitch, up and in. Rise ball that just isn't up enough, and she just turns on it. She's not leaning out over the plate looking for something to the inside corner. Knew it off the bat, and so did this crowd. Gabby Garcia gives OU the lead.
And now Kendall Wells. 1 home run away from tying Laura Espinosa's record of 37. She has homered in 11 of her last 14 games. Grew up in Oconee County, went to North Oconee High School, about a 20-minute drive from Athens. Family in attendance. Mom and dad, grandparents, sisters, all here for what has already been a historic weekend. Has already this weekend broken the Oklahoma single-season home run record. 2-2 from Rowling.
Three strikeouts in this series for Wells. A couple of home runs mixed in there. Just always feel like it's coming. You always feel like she's due no matter what.
Draws a walk. Second of the day for Wells. The Oklahoma offense has been gritty today. Got down 3-0 to start the game. Chipped away, scored 2 unanswered runs in the second inning. Took the lead in the 4th. Game tied after that, and they grab it back here after Garcia's home run.
It's definitely been, a different feel in this game than in Game 1 and Game 2 when Oklahoma jumped out to an early lead and just kept it. Oklahoma trying to find a different way to win in Game 3, going for the sweep here today.
Lexi McDaniel, right back at you. Gabby Garcia puts Oklahoma in front and trying to close out Georgia for the series sweep and keep Georgia from beating their first #1 team since 2021. Sarah Gordon leads it off. Homered in her last at bat in the 5th. And still has the lone 2 extra base hits in the series for Georgia. Strike 2.
I think that this is the best that Miley Wachenio has looked since coming to Oklahoma. You can tell that she's just getting stronger and stronger as the season has gone on. There's just something different about her this weekend. Continue to plug away, and what stands out for sure is base on balls is down. She's just commanding her rise, curve, and changeup and screw very well, being able to throw any of those pitches in any count.
Oh, 2 strikeout. And the throw from Wells to complete it. 4th of the day for Wachenio in relief.
That changeup in the dirt, she's been so good at locating and getting chases at, and pitchers count 0-2, 1-2 counts, gets the chase.
Marissa Miller comes to the plate, having walked in all 3 at-bats to this point. Brushed off with a 1-0. Shoots it into right field. And the game-tying run is aboard for Georgia in the 7th. And Tony Baldwin will immediately go to his bench and pinch run for Miller with Natalie Donaldson. Gabby Novickus due up. Has singled today. Doing so off Sydney Berzon in the 2nd inning. One of 5 Bulldog hitters batting at or near 400 this year. Trying to produce that clutch hit that they have lacked in 1-run games. Oh, 1 to second. Agbayani going for the lead runner. They get Donaldson. 2 down.
It's so fundamentally sound, and there are some second basemen that are scared to try to make that throw on that play. That ground ball is taking them more to the first base side. It's the easy way out is just to go 1 with that, but that would be the game-tying run moving into scoring position in that situation. So Agbayani, knowing that, works very well with Gabby Garcia. Might just go down as a fielder's choice, but that decision and trust to make that play is huge.
And now Molly Mitchell will come in to pinch run at first base for Novickus as Kirsten Roos comes to the plate for the Dogs. Roos up the middle. Keeps the game alive for Georgia. And the game-tying run is in scoring position in the 7th.
Well, Matt, think about that decision now by Agbayani to go to second base and keep a runner that has a ton of speed out of second base, out of scoring position, because then Roos comes up, gets that single. Georgia has a chance at scoring. Who knows if Tony is for sure going to send her, but they have a chance at scoring with the speed.
Bailey Lindemuth has 3 hits in the series. Looks at strike 1.
At this point, if I'm with Chenio and the pitch caller, Jen Rocha, I don't really want to throw that changeup as much anymore. Both the hits in this inning have come off of the changeup. See if you can get Georgia get jammed up, tied up with their hands on something harder.